Good morning, good afternoon, and good night, wherever you are in the world. And welcome to another edition of In Literacy and Numeracy News. And this is brought to you by VRJ Education Consultants. My name is Veronica Reed Johnson, and I'm the lead consultant of VRJ Education Consultants. We offer a range of services, including seminars. So for this week, we have been talking about the Patterson Report, but we are going to talk about the context of the Patterson Report, and we're also going to be talking about what has happened since the publication of the Patterson Report in 2021. For today, we are going to be talking about one editorial from the Jamaica Gleaner, which has been pushing the discussion about educational reform. So we are going to talk about the editorial glossing over the Patterson Report. So in this discussion, in this editorial, which is about a year old, it's from May 2023, so it's a full year. It starts by calling on the Minister of Education, Favour Williams. And it says that Favour Williams is obviously confident that fundamental transformation is underway in Jamaica's educational system. The minister, it seems, feels that in several respects, she is in front of Orlando Patterson's commission, which delivered a report on the subject nearly 2 years ago. So that is nearly 3 years ago now. Indeed, Ms. Williams' May 17, 2023 report to Parliament of her ministry's activities during the last fiscal year, which would have been 2022 into 2023, was titled Educational Transformation in Progress. The phrase appeared on all 60 pages of the electronic booklet containing her speech, in some cases more than once. Ms. Williams specifically mentioned the commission and its recommendations 7 times and called Professor Patterson's name twice. Each time it was to enunciate something in the report that was already being done or was now being implemented, such as the commission's proposal for greater involvement by the government in the early childhood sector. So they quote the Minister Favour Williams as saying in May 2023, "We are moving apace to increase the number of brain builder centers, increase the number of infant centers and infant departments, and to work with the private providers to ensure standards are met." In another instance, the article goes on, she identifies 6 initiatives that were broadly suggested by the Commission and were being implemented during this fiscal year. And the article goes to list these 6. Passage of the law to establish the Jamaica Teaching Council that will license teachers, revising the handbook for appraisal of educators, collaborating with the teachers' colleges and departments on a program for selecting candidates to become teachers in year 3 of their education program. Number 4, expanding in-service training of teachers, making the system more accessible and in a position to contribute to career advancement, especially for teachers who concentrate on STEAM education. Number 5, widening the excellent teacher awards to teachers in each quality education circle. And the last one, increasing the amount of information available on the JTC's database. In addition to these and other programs being pursued by the ministry, Ms. Williams reminded that a committee chaired by Adrian Stokes was appointed by Prime Minister Andrew Holness to oversee the implementation of Patterson's findings. The committee, she says, meets regularly with a range of partners to ensure tasks are being done, even as the Mona School of Business and Management costs the project and develops an implementation plan and an evaluation framework. According to the minister, there have been several consultations with key stakeholders on plans. The intention of these was no doubt sincere and outcomes useful. These efforts notwithstanding, the editorial goes on to say, Minister Williams missed a critical frame in this picture. While no one questioned that, as she asserts, there is educational transformation in progress, or her leadership of the process, it was not clear from her parliamentary presentation that she has deeply or widely consulted with Jamaicans on the Patterson Report. Most people know little about it. Pause. So that's one of the reasons we're having this discussion today. That's one of the reasons why I'm going through the results of the Patterson Report and what has happened since the Patterson Report, so more of us can get cognizant of these reports that as taxpayers we have paid for, and the implementation of the recommendations can have substantial impact on our lives. Let's get back into the editorial. Patterson's was the second major review of Jamaica's education system in 17 years. It is aimed at turning around a long-standing crisis in educational outcomes that manifests in half of Jamaican sixth grade students being unable to read or meet the grade qualifications for numeracy, and fewer than 3 in 10 high school students passing 5 CSEC subjects, including math and English, in one sitting. So we had talked about those results, and now we are talking about the context. What led up to the need for the Patterson Commission and the creation of the Patterson Report and the results that came out of that. Now we're talking about what led to that and what has happened since then. The Patterson Commission made several recommendations that would fundamentally alter the structure of education management, as well as how much resources are allocated to various segments of the education industry, in the education system, sorry. For instance, the Central Education Ministry would forfeit some of its authority to regional operational centers, and the education spend would be rebalanced in favor of early childhood and primary education. The Commission also proposes that parents of high school students be required to contribute to the cost of their children's education, but that the allocation of resources be skewed to schools with the least resources. Ms. Williams' parliamentary presentation glossed over the substance of the Patterson Report. Moreover, it is surprising that there has been no widespread government-led engagement of Jamaicans about this critical document, the planning of whose implementation is underway. No one, but for the insiders, know what Dr. Stokes is being asked to oversee, or have a real sense of if the policymakers are getting their priorities right. While this newspaper largely endorses the Patterson Report, we are aware that wisdom does not reside in a single source. Discussion and debates test the validity of ideas. Policies are more likely to fail if implemented without the support of or buy-in from the people they are supposed to benefit. It is not too late for the government to reset its approach to the Patterson Report. Minister Williams should table it in Parliament, have it referred to a committee of the House for review, and subject to a debate by the legislature. This should happen in tandem with public discussions across Jamaica on these findings. So that was an editorial that was published in the Jamaica Gleaner on the 23rd of May that talked about the minister and the ministry glossing over the results of the Patterson Report. So next week, we're going to continue our discussion of the Patterson Report. We're going to talk about other commentators and other persons that have written about what has happened with this document since this document has been published, and if there are any changes that have been made between 2021 and 2024 in our education system as a result of the Patterson Report. All right, thank you for staying with me, and I'll see you on another episode of In Literacy and Numeracy News.